on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you on a Sunday morning. It is 6:30 Central Time. I'm up. I'm ready to go. Let's talk some football. Wanted to make this video today in response and give my thoughts on the Week 0 matchup with Georgia Tech and Florida State. Really interesting game. Upset alert. Down to the wire. Georgia Tech wins it. I'll say this. The response in this video, gotta be professional, calm, cool, collected, everything like that, right? You got to. I'll give them credit. Florida State out there, I would say this. When you look at this game, DJU, we'll call him that. Uyunglele, people joke and call him the ukulele, whatever. He had 193 passing yards in this game. Georgia Tech's defense is going to be something special this year. That's pretty good, though. 193. It's really not too bad. Now, he has had a 78 QBR. A senior, he's 6'4", 252. No touchdowns in the game. He also didn't throw interceptions. They just couldn't find the end zone in this game when you look at it. Now, compare that to Haynes King, 11 of 16, 146 yards. Who had the better performance? He also did not have any passing touchdowns. DJ threw for more yardage. He attempted more passes. But then again, when you look at Jamal Haynes running the ball compared to Roydell Williams, who's the Alabama transfer for Florida State at running back, Williams had 12 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown. It's really not too good. That's not even half the field on 12 carries. Then you had Jamal Haynes, 11 carries, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Again, not a perfect performance, but it's better than what Roydell Williams was able to do out there, right? Florida State found a way to tie it in the fourth quarter. They went up early. They attempted a two-point conversion to go up 8-7 at the end of one. They got outscored 7-6 in the second. It was a scoreless third quarter for the Seminoles and the Yellow Jackets, of course. But Georgia Tech outscored them 10-7, with the score being tied at 14 at half. And Georgia Tech wins 24-21. Of course, kicking that 44-yarder from Aiden Burr on a 12-play drive that took up 6.5 minutes of clock. Now, I think this is kind of where the heat comes in, is Florida State on that last drive looked soft defensively. And again, I'm not here to bash Florida State. In fact, I'm actually here to pick it up a little bit because on Twitter and everything, that's what everyone's doing. That's been the narrative that because they lost to Tech, they don't look good. It doesn't look good to lose to Georgia Tech. And I get it in recent history of Georgia Tech, but let's not forget what Georgia Tech was able to do last year when they upset teams like, I don't know, who was it? Oh, Miami. Now, you say whatever you want to about Miami. That was a team that got pretty hyped up going into the season with Mario Cristobal. And this is a team that went 7-6, won the Gasparilla Bowl over Gus Malzahn and UCF, who's now in the Big 12. This is a team that only lost by 8 to Georgia at home last year. This is the same Georgia team that probably had a case for the playoffs and put a beat down on Florida State in the Orange Bowl. I hate to go back to last year, but since it's only week 0, we kind of have to go off something for these two teams. You had Jamal Haynes last year. You did have Haynes King. I mean, Georgia Tech brings back a lot. They really do. This is a team that had beat Miami, beat North Carolina, beat Syracuse, lost to teams like Louisville and Ole Miss early on, beat Wake Forest. Now, some of those wins I just pointed out, they probably aren't too much of a win. I mean, 30-16 over Wake Forest. I think for Georgia Tech standards, it was great. This year, focus on 2024. I would say this, folks, that we need to give Brent Key his props on a silver platter for what he's been able to do with this program. This team was in the dumps a while back under the previous Collins. I mean, it was down. It really was. But not anymore. I'm not here to hype them up for the playoffs. By no means are they making the playoffs this year. You look at their schedule going forward, it's going to get really, really rough. Georgia at the end of the year, of course. They'll beat Georgia State next week. At Syracuse, you probably could win that, but that's iffy. At Louisville later on, Duke, at North Carolina, Notre Dame is at a neutral site on October 19th, and I'll double check. I know it's at neutral site. I'll forget where it's at. But either way, I mean, that's a game they should lose. They could win. Because what if they get to that point where, hey, we're in a big moment. Let's give it everything we got. What do we expect? They're going to lose to Georgia. They could lose at Virginia Tech. I'm seeing maybe 4 or 5 losses on this schedule to where they squeak by with the ball. But to start the season, they had a heck of a performance defensively against Florida State. They were able to hit the field goal. They were able to do all of that. Georgia Tech was ready for this game, whereas Florida State got caught running around crying on the internet because of what happened last year to end the season. Well, we got snubbed out of the playoffs and everything like that, but then you lost by 60 to who? Georgia? Georgia's a great team. I'm not going to take anything away from Kirby Smart and everything, but who goes into a New Year's Six Bowl and loses by 60 points? Oh, is Georgia just that good? They may be, but there's no excuse for that. They had the whole offseason to erase that from memory, get ready for this game, and regardless of how the score looked on the scoreboard, it was a 3-point game. Yes, it was a field goal. Okay, anyone could lose by a field goal. Anyone could go out there, you know, ice the kicker and mess up and still fail, right? Okay, that's fine. That's going to happen. It didn't look that close from how Florida State was playing. It seemed like they wanted to play two-hand touch with the running back and everything like that. Georgia Tech had really, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, Haynes King threw for 146 yards. They had 336 total offense, 18 first downs. Florida State had more time of possession, could not gain yardage like Georgia Tech did. They still gained a lot. I mean, 291 is not bad. And they had 20 first downs. That beat Georgia Tech compared to Georgia Tech's 18 first downs. Here's the thing. I think what's happening is this. Think about ESPN Bet real quick. It had Florida State a 10.5 point favorite. They lost by a field goal. The over-under was 54.5. We had a combined score of 45. You would have took the under, you would have been right. I think that I get the media perception and I get the experts out there. I get it. I really do. Florida State, what they did last year, brought some guys back. They used the portal. Okay. But where's the props for Georgia Tech? Here's my issue. We're bashing one team that should have won but lost. But we're turning around and instead of giving the props where it's due to the victors, what's the saying? To the victor goes the spoils. Why aren't we doing that for Tech? I mean, Georgia Tech fans are happy, And I'm sure there's going to be experts that say, great game, Georgia Tech and everything. But as college football fans, like I know we're supposed to troll and point and laugh and make fun. I get that. But I have not really seen anything positive on the internet about Georgia Tech winning this game. It's all been about Florida State screwed up, made mistakes, did this or that, and they lost a game they should have won. Now, I get it, but it's not like they lost. It's not like, remember that year when Tennessee lost to Georgia State and BYU? It's not like that. I could get the point and laugh there. I'm not going to give props to teams like Georgia State or BYU. Now, BYU has good teams, but they shouldn't be beating up on the SEC. But Georgia Tech's Power 4. They're in conference. This is a great game. This is a great win for them. Where's their credit? I'm giving it to them. Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media and Sports Journalist. Giving Georgia Tech the props. 24-21 the final in Ireland. We could easily look back at this game if Georgia Tech falls, and then we'll point and laugh at Florida State for losing this game. We could look back at it. But to kick off the season, expect nothing less than some upsets in week 1, right? Think about it. You have the whole offseason. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes with coaching and everything, transfer portal and all that. We see what comes in. We don't know the efforts they're putting out there, man. Georgia Tech could be working their tails off to maybe hit 8 or 9 wins this year. I think that's very possible. They got a tough schedule, but if they really wanted to, go out there and prove us wrong. I'm here to give them their props instead of giving the heat to Florida State for losing this game. Florida State, y'all played a pretty good game, pretty close game. I'll admit there were some calls out there, and some guys didn't look good at times. I'll admit it. But I want you to know I'm not going to be the one to come on here and troll y'all too much. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, love you guys. Have a blessed week ahead, and we'll see you very soon as college football is officially back.